Today I'm gonna show you how to make fermented cabbage. But before we're gonna get into it, let me quickly explain what the fermentation is and why it's so important for your body. So basically, fermentation is a natural process where the good bacteria breaks down the sugars in a food. And what that does, it creates probiotics, which is amazing for your gut. And your gut is super important. It affects your digestion, your immune system, and your mood as well, which for me is actually the biggest benefit of it. Fermented foods like cabbage are full of good bacteria, enzymes, and nutrition, so that will improve your overall health. And the best part of it is completely natural and super easy to do it at home. So let me show you what you're gonna need and how to make it step by step. Okay, this is what you're gonna need. You're gonna need a cabbage. I'm using white cabbage, but you can use any type of cabbage. The container. I'm using glass container, but you can use clay container, or if you haven't have one of those, use a plastic. And a small plate, not too small, not too big, just big enough to fit the opening. Salt. Salt is pretty important. Don't use the table salt. It's not good. You have to use either Himalayan salt, or rock salt, or sea salt. I'm using Himalayan salt. And the water. You have to use boiled and cooled down water. Don't use the hot water. It's not gonna work. Chopping board and a sharp knife and a food processor. Also, you're gonna need some kind of weight. I'm using jar filled up with the water. You're gonna need that, and I'll explain you later what I need that for. Okay, before you're gonna start cutting the cabbage, you're gonna have to remove the core of the cabbage. You're not gonna need that. Okay. For slicing it, I'm gonna use food processor because I'm not really good with knives and take a lot of time. So it's a lot easier. If you don't have one of those, you're gonna have to do, using a knife. You see, it has to be kind of very thin. That takes a lot of time and you can hurt yourself. All right, so food processor is very easy. It's nice and thin. Okay, just let me do that, and then I will come back to you when it's all done. All right, see you in a bit. Okay, it's all done. It's quite a lot of it. I've got here about 1 kilo and 200 grams. Now I'm gonna add a salt into the cabbage and mix it. The ratio is 20 grams per 1 kilo of the cabbage. So I've got here about 22 grams. Well, let's do it. Okay, all has been mixed properly. Now I'm gonna place that into the jar. Hopefully I'm not gonna mess around with that. Now I'm going to add that water. Right, about 300 milliliters to 1.2 kilo of cabbage. What we're going to do now, going to put that plate in, squeeze it, make sure the whole cabbage is under the surface of the liquid, and to keep it kind of squeezed all the time, you're gonna have to put a weight. That's why I mentioned that you're gonna need jar filled up with the water. It's gonna be about 1 kilo. Gonna keep pressing the cabbage and all is gonna be under there. Okay, so that's how it looks like. So I'm gonna leave that for 3 days, and after 3 days I'm going to show you the fermentation process. It's a day 3 of cabbage fermentation. You can see the fermentation process. Now I'm gonna have to remove the jar and a plate and mix the cabbage. There's quite a lot of juice there. I'm gonna have to use just one hand because the other hand I'm holding my phone. Just to mix it. It's quite difficult doing one hand. It's nice and wet. Okay, now I have to take all the cabbage from the sides just to make sure squeeze it properly. And put it all back again. Press it and throw the jar back. All right, and I'm going to repeat that again in 3 days time. On the day 10 I'm gonna put it to a smaller container and place it into the fridge, and that's it really.